Welcome back to No Cap Movie Recap. I'm your host Denzel, and today we will be recapping Gladiator II. I miss y'all, man. I definitely did. But jumping right into it, we finally made it back to the Roman Colosseum. 16 years later, after Maximus's death, we are finally back in Rome, and there are two emperors that are fully corrupt. We meet Lucius, we meet his wife. During the Roman African campaign, their land is about to be under attack. They are mounting a defense. Simply put, his wife dies during battle. He is thrown into slavery and he is sold to fight in the Roman Games as celebration for Rome's African campaign, or the success of that particular campaign. The general, played by pedropascal, has finally come back from his campaign, successful. All of this man wants is to be with his wife and spend some time away. He knows that these people are corrupt. He knows that his leadership and the government is corrupt. He only supports them due to where he stands, which is being the general. He must obey. But also understanding that, hey, they are leveraging his wife against him as well, right? So he can't do too much about that. What we come find out is that that wife is actually the mother of Lucius. Lucius is actually upset and highly driven to kill the general. Why? Because he killed his wife. Duh, makes sense. Lucius is then introduced to the master of the gladiators, Marquis, also known as Denzelwashington, not myself. And Denzel simply spectate this new talent for the upcoming Roman Games. And he grows very attracted to Lucius. He sees the rage within Lucius, and he also sees his political ambitions successful within Lucius. So he knows that he can leverage that to his success. As this story goes along, the general, we find out, is that he decides to mount an insurrection, mount a coup, to overthrow these two jeopardized emperors. And that's where we're going to leave it right there. Now, where I want to flip towards is, what are my thoughts about Gladiator II in general? The rhino scene and the naval scene, turning the Roman Colosseum into a naval battle, is so innovative. I think that was a great move on the writers and the producers and the director. So I think that it was great. The raw fight scenes were what they were supposed to be. The concept of a Roman dream is for a once free man to be captured, then to entertain his captors well enough to regain their freedom before they die. Sounds familiar? So think about that for a second. That's very deep that they decided to put that in. I think that was magnificent. They decided to put that in because that's simply what it is. And that's not deviating from what the Romans did. So I love that concept that they wanted to illustrate. Some of the royalness, the boldness, the symmetry, the centeredness of the Roman ships coming in on the first initial battle showed their presence and demonstrated their power and their structure as they rode in on the ships. Along with that, it reminded me of D-Day in World War II, how the ships were rolling, how we can resemble our American troops going in to finally fight the Nazis. It kept a resemblance of that, of those regiments going into the fight, and I loved that particular decision to do that. I think they did that on purpose. Some of the rawness and angles that they shown was quite appropriate for Gladiator 2. So yeah. And so I would also say where they lacked in was initially trying to tell the story and trying to capture you into everyone's story to understand their motives, their ambitions, and their desires at the end of the day. I felt like it was a bit jumping from one story to the next, trying to keep up, but also trying to get the story out quickly. So I felt like the first half of the movie was actually, okay, this is this person, this their needs, this their wants, this their ambitions, this is their political gain, this are their struggles or what have you, this is their rage. And it jumped until it finally got to the point to where we already explained everybody and now you should know who they are. Now we can go ahead and tell the story. And after that, that's when things really flowed. I don't know if Denzel Washington was able to notice that. If he was, it makes him a much more superb actor than what we can actually believe. Because the way he played the first half of the movie as being in the background and literally waiting his turn. I'm going to tell you, Denzel Washington stole the show and kept Gladiator 2 afloat. I do not care what nobody says. You can argue with me in the comment section all you want. Tell me one actor or actress that outdid Denzel in that movie. I'll wait. My emphasis is that Denzel took the first half of the movie to sit back. He didn't over exaggerate his character. He didn't try to force his character into the mix yet. He allowed the story to build properly and so smoothly that kept the glue of the movie. Because once he started to turn it on, he turned it on and it just went. And after that, I'm just sitting back like, okay, where is this potentially Oscar nominated performance from what media has been speculating? And then you get to see it. Yeah, Denzel really showed up, and I love that character. It reminded me of some other characters that he's played before. But if anyone has issues essentially with ethnicity of Denzel being in that movie, because I've heard that too, there's been gripes and complaints about that, and I'm just going to say it. But if there's an issue there has to be other situations, even in this movie in particular, that you may want to be able to question as well, and not just him being in that movie. I'm just saying. I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? So I was looking for him to maybe struggle with his accent. I didn't hear that as much of a struggle. I think he did that very well. And I think I also believe his previous performance in Macbeth really helped him in this movie, because I was truly looking for him to struggle in that movie a little bit. I was wondering, is this accent going to, flow out? He didn't. And he did very well, in my opinion. But in overall, I would have to give that movie about a 7. Why? Because it's riding on the back of Gladiator. Russell Crowe was phenomenal in Gladiator. If this is what I would say, I feel as if we didn't have enough time for the character development, or they wasted particularly the time to develop the characters, because they had a star-studded cast. You had pedropascal, and I think he's absolutely amazing. But I do not feel like he shined in this movie at all. I felt like he was washed out a bit. Just saying, did it live up to expectations? Not really, no. Denzel was a bit of the glue, and not me trying to just pick him. I just do believe that Denzel's character was really the glue, and how Denzel decided to portray him, because there could have been multiple ways that he could have portrayed him, and it could have thrown the whole thing off. Just to be completely transparent there. Lucius, he turned it on at the end, and I actually got goosebumps at certain parts for Lucius, especially at the end, because it felt like Russell Crowe. It felt like the old Gladiator then, when he finally got in his pocket, when he got into his range and elevation of his voice and things of that nature. It just started to move and muster and fluster like it's supposed to. Another scene that I loved was the Grim Reaper scene. It was a beautiful scene, and it was such a beautiful illustration of loss in someone's life. I'm just going to put that out there. I know that's a bit random, but I just want to let you know that. Okay? So I give it a 7. I still think it's a great watch. And yeah, make sure that you look out for these other ones that are coming out, because I got one coming out right after this. I'm going to have the exact same outfit on. Don't disrespect me. Cause yeah, I'm pretty much doing these back to back. Okay? Until next time, y'all be easy.